This is not just another match preview, guys. For me, this is the season definer. Villa are level with us. The games are running out. After the Newcastle result, Manchester United cannot afford another slip up again. A win puts us with one foot in the Champions League, in my eyes. Um, but it gives us breathing space. A loss throws everything back in the open and brings all the doubt back with it. That we fought so hard so far this season to get rid of. So tonight, let's talk about why this game is so huge, where Villa can hurt us, and what United have to do if they're serious about finishing in the top spot. Before we get into my predicted lineups with Villa, um, there's one thing I need to quickly cover. If you're new here, please make sure you're hitting the subscribe button. Drop a like on the video and get involved in the chat because United Lens, it's all about honesty from Manchester United fans. It's all about debate, no narratives, no agendas, just real football talk. Right, let's get started with the Aston Villa lineups because Unai Emery has got a side that can cause serious problems to United if we're not switched on, especially in the midfield, very similar to the Newcastle game. So let's get the team up and let's have a look. So straight off, obviously Martinez should be in goal for them. The one thing we don't know is from the time off if there's been any changes. I didn't hear anything from the press conferences, so we'll go with as predicted by Footmob. Okay, so Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Marcin, uh, Luis, Diego Luis, I always say Luis, Unana, Bailey, Boyendir, or Bundinda. I can never pronounce his name either. Morgan Rogers, who is probably their biggest danger man currently in form, and of course, Ollie Watkins. So, guys, there's a few things I wanted to run over. Um, Preferably running over Villa would be ideal for tomorrow at Old Trafford. But let's just have a quick look. And before we jump in, let's have a look. See who's in the chat. Who have we got in the chat today? We've got a few. Bilal, big up. You're in first. There's a few of you watching, quite a few of you watching over on X as well. If you can just pop over here onto YouTube, smash a like, give it a thumbs up, maybe hit the subscribe if you want to, or just continue watching on X and share the stream through there, guys. Yes, Villa. So let's get cracking with Villa. Because for me, this is where the game becomes really interesting. When you look at Villa, you're looking at a side that knows exactly who they are under Emery. Um, but the weird thing is, we've seen two Villas this season. We saw a Villa that went like 10, 11 games unbeaten, and now we've got a Villa side that is just almost in free fall out of Champions League spots. So we know what they're capable of, and we know where they're currently at, but we've had the break. So a few things I sort of wanted to cover off. Um, they're organised. First and foremost, they are very organised. You won't find an Emery team that isn't. They're very aggressive and they're very good at making games uncomfortable. So smothering us, high press, getting on top early. Normally that's driven by John McGinn. So the fact Villa's drop off has coincided with McGinn not being here has been a massive help if you're a United fan, obviously. Um, but if you're a Villa fan, I know you can't wait for McGinn to get back quick enough. When it comes to sort of their structure, that's where it's had to change without McGinn. They sort of he would always be rotating box to box, every tackle, dictating the play. Whereas Villa now, I would expect Villa to set up in their usual sort of structure. And the key thing with them is it's not just that the names on the pitch; it's how quickly they can turn defense into attack. You know, they're very counter-attacking. I know that's why they took Sancho last year. That's what they wanted Rashford for off of us. Um, so we know what they want to do. Bailey in behind, and obviously Morgan Rogers. Watkins, it depends whether he turns up on the day. Sometimes whether he scores, but obviously they brought Tammy Abraham in as well, who I've always quite liked the look of. Um, not quite sure where he's at these days after spending so long in Italy, but they will look to stay very compact, win the duels in midfield, which we're probably all expecting, and then hurt United in those moments where our shape opens up. So in the past shows recently, I've talked about the high press. Something we need to be really careful of tomorrow when we play is if we overcommit to that high press, the power and pace of Inana and Bailey and Diego Luis, they will hurt us. Rogers will probably stay high, and then Bundia will just look. He'll probably have shots from outside the box. We know he can hit the ball, but he'll try to dictate the play wide, I would expect. So it'd be very interesting how Carrick sets up and what he's learned from that Newcastle match. Um, for me, the first thing United have to be ready for is Villa's midfield intensity. I think we can all agree with that. Um, they not they don't just sit there and let you play. They will be on you within, on that first touch, everything like that. Every little trigger you can think of will trigger their press. So it'll be very interesting if we can get that 1-2 touch passing that we saw in the Arsenal and City games, and it sort of died a death in the last few games. So will be very interesting to see what happens. Villa will definitely fancy turning us over and driving straight into the wide spaces in behind our fullbacks, especially if Luke Shaw on the left has to push up to cover Cunha because Cunha's tucking inside again. Um, we'll come on to Rogers and who he'll get in behind later because I'm hoping from what Carrick said, um, everyone's back that we would expect to be playing, and the only person back on the grass who might be on the bench is Mason Mount. So there's still no Martinez or anyone like that. But it also means we've got no additional players out, which is highly important, right? I'm guessing we can all agree on that. So yeah, from there, sort of the second thing about their runners, where they're going to get in behind, uh, they've got players who can break quickly, and if United lose their distance or allow the game to get stretched, that's exactly the kind of game Villa want. So I can see them giving up a lot of the ball. Okay, and then the third thing is they've got the probably more belief than us. I still feel we're missing that slightly. Let me know in the chat if you're in the same sort of idea that United lack that little bit of belief. When we're at Old Trafford, we are a lot better, but in general, I just feel we could add a little bit more in there. So yeah, that pretty much covers off Villa for me. We don't want to cover them too much, do we? Because let's be fair, we're here to win and win our way. So let's crack on with getting the United team up. I can't imagine any of you expecting a different lineup to what I put up, but if you do, please let me know. That's the way I see it. Lament's in goal, Sesko up front, and then everyone else is pretty much the same. You can see why I didn't go straight in about Rogers running in behind Dallo, because I think for that reason, because it wasn't touched on, obviously in about an hour or maybe tomorrow morning, the embargo section of the press conference will be out. But he didn't say that Mazraoui was out injured or Shaw was out injured. So I'm expecting that started with Mazraoui on the right and Shaw on the left. Hopefully, Shaw and Maguire have got rid of that bug that they were blatantly carrying. But before we get into that, Danny, I see you in the chat now as well. Good evening, sir. There's 8 of you watching, so mods, if you can just keep an eye on the like count for me as we're going through, that would be great. Yeah, let's get onto United. Let's talk about everything. Where we'll start with the negatives. We'll start with the Newcastle game and everything like that, and where we need to build. So from the United point of view, this is why I keep saying it's a massive game. Villa are not just coming here to be part of the occasion; they're coming here thinking they can take something. And if United are not switched on, they're not in shape, and they're not compact enough, this can be a very difficult afternoon tomorrow. So let's. I focus a lot around Mainu, Casemiro, and Bruno Fernandes, and I'm not quite sure entirely if everyone gets the sort of point I'm trying to make about Fernandes dropping in. Because if you watch the pressing video, if you've watched the last couple, where I keep saying that Sesko and Bruno press the two centre backs and everyone goes wide, and that's how we start our press. For me, when you've got runners like Inana, like I say, we're lucky we're not up against McGinn, but David Luiz is coming in. He's another strong, determined character in midfield that could probably outpower Bruno Fernandes and Kobe Mainu. Casemiro will give what Casemiro can give, and if he can't, he'll just chop you down. We know that. So yeah, I don't want to focus so much on them today. I want to focus more on the wider play and more what we can do going against them. Because I think if Cunha holds his width, him up against Matty Cash could be quite a dangerous situation that we probably should exploit a lot more than we have been. Same with Luke Shaw. If we can pin him back, Bailey doesn't want to come back and defend, so we can get a good 2v1 against Matty Cash. When we played him early in the season, Cash did not have a good game, um, but that was against Dorgu and Shaw, so we'll see what happens. And same on the other side with Mazraoui and Mbumo. I think they time their runs very well. Mazraoui pretty snaps into the recovery balls quite a lot. So it's that turnover. I think it is going to be a game of turnovers because I'm still struggling to see how we keep possession and move the ball quick enough. Keeping possession and taking 5 touches and passing to the next player and then taking five touches, we're absolutely great at. But this game tomorrow is all about whether or not we want Champions League football. For me, I don't see. Chelsea have slipped up today. Um, as it stands, I don't know if there's been another goal since I went live, but as it stood, it was 1-1 in the City West Ham game. Uh, I'm not expecting us to catch City, but it could happen. But with Newcastle beating Chelsea, and if we can beat Villa, that puts a big 6-point gap between all of us. And then you've only got Liverpool bringing up the rear on them. So tomorrow, Liverpool could leapfrog Chelsea and Villa, I believe, with a win if we beat them. So we start pulling away and we start guaranteeing that fourth place. And I think we need to look at fourth place because with the way the Champions League and Europa League has panned out this week, 5 spots next year in Europe is on thin ice right now. I did not expect Real to do City 3-0, things like that. So we now need to take our opportunities and really focus on finishing as high as possible. And that's what this game is going to be. So, yeah, with that in mind, let's flip to United then. I can see people quickly just putting some stuff up in the chat. Bilal's not confident, nor is Danny. One-touch football and winning breaking balls like we played when Carrick first came. Yeah, and Villa will attack us, I think. So there's a chance to get that going. Don't forget the last couple of games we haven't really been attacked up until the Newcastle game. And the Newcastle game, we need to now work out whether that was just a bad day at the office and us misfiring, or whether we were on a slippery slope, which we all feared would come. Once the players got a little bit too comfortable with Carrick. So, we have seen that in the past. So let's hope that's not the case. But yeah, let's focus more on the lineup. I think Sesko starts up top. I think Sesko leads the line. I could imagine Cunha being dropped in this game for Ahmad and putting Mbumo over on the left. I could see it happening. I don't think it will. So you will have to let me know what you're expecting from your starting lineup. But otherwise, For me, the one other change from the predicted lineups I would make, and it's a bit of a ballsy call, maybe, but I would drop Euro. Okay, and my main reason for that is I just think Heaven offers us more on the left than Euro is offering us on the right of Harry Maguire. Move Harry back over to the right. I know he likes playing the left side as centre back, but put Harry back on the right to deal with Watkins, who will drag off to that side, and then put Heaven in with his left foot, who's actually not a bad passer of the ball through the lines either, compared to Euro. Euro's a better clipper of the ball out to the wide areas, but we've got Harry Maguire who can do that. So, although this is the predicted lineup, maybe Heaven comes in for me. So, yeah, let me know what you think on that, guys. But Bruno Fernandes is going to have to run his arse off in this game, personally. We all remember the game last year at Old Trafford. We worked so hard against them. Obviously, Martinez saw red, and that made the game easy for us. This season, that's not been the case. So if he sees red, then we'll probably end up losing the game. But once we got Martinez out their goal, we sort of just limped over the line. I was looking for the right words there, but it always feels like a limp, doesn't it, really? So, yeah. What are you guys saying in the chat? Why don't you come back at me and give us a little thoughts? We thinking Mainu, Casemiro just sit deep, and Bruno sits in as a third, or do we go all out attack against them? Because there's a lot of options when you play against Villa. I've seen teams sit back and get absolutely destroyed against them, and I've seen teams go on the attack, overcommit, and be countered. But that was in their 10 winning, 10 straight games winning on the trot, which got them up to where they are. But then recently, like a lot of us, they've had a couple of injured players, and the driving force has fallen out. Their back line, I'm not a massive fan of Konza. I think he can be ran at. I think Sesko can bully him and probably get a penalty out of him. If I'm honest, he can be very rash. But obviously, they got their mainstay in Mings back fit now, but not really match fit. He's still driving for that, and the lack of games we've had over the last few weeks probably hasn't helped him. So yeah, no, please have your say, guys. One quickly going through these. Don't forget, tomorrow after the game, there will be a player review, player ratings video come out, and then we'll do the review show maybe Tuesday night about the match once the emotion's been taken out of it. So I can give you a much more sort of structured breakdown of what's gone on. But yeah, just keep dropping your thoughts in the chat. Don't just sit there listening, guys. Just jump on, have a quick say. Danny says mid block abandon abandon that high press. It doesn't work with Bruno. No, it doesn't. It doesn't, in my opinion. It could, but it's not just Casemiro, Mainu's lack of pace in midfield. Obviously, with Maguire's lack of pace at the back, Shaw's losing a little bit. I think in his legs consistently throughout the game. He's quite good if he's got to run from the halfway line and cover back on an angle. Say about 50, 60 yards, but over 5-10 yards, he takes a while to get up to speed. So that's an issue. Let's get the team sheet off the pitch now. I think we're all good there. So yeah, I agree, Danny. Mid block would be better, and I hope that's something we've been working on, and I definitely hope it's something we work on. Because don't forget, after this game, we play Friday night, and that is then the last game for a month. 1 month. I can't even get my head around how the Premier League can structure anything like that where teams don't play for a month. But, half of it we've brought on ourselves, let's be honest, we have, by not being in the FA Cup and things like that. But with the England games coming up before the World Cup, what are these? Are these conference matches or friendlies? I can't remember. I don't really follow the international football. So, the best I keep is La Liga. So yes, let's go have a look what else other people are saying. There's still plenty of you watching on X. Just seeing if there's any comments over on there. Nothing really going on at the moment. Yeah. So do you guys see this as an important match as I do? like I say, for me, it literally defines our season. Win this, and I was going to say we've got one hand on the trophy, but you know what I mean. Well, Champions League football is right there for us to lose. But if we don't win tomorrow, even a draw, don't get me wrong, I'll take the draw because it is a team up there with us. But I feel that we're dropping off too many games. West Ham, Fulham, Newcastle, and then this game as well, Villa, when Villa are very beatable or have been in the last couple of games. So it will be very open. I know a lot of you are probably still keeping one eye on the Man City game while this is going on. I have got the score in front of me, still 1-1, 60 minutes played. So, maybe West Ham are going to do it again. Um, who's Liverpool got tomorrow? That's the other game that is obviously very important to us. Liverpool are, oh yeah, big game, isn't it? Liverpool Spurs 4:30. Um, who knows? Spurs might actually win a game. Doubt it, but Liverpool are shit as well. So who knows how that could go? But a draw there would really help us out. So yeah, quite interesting stats, if you like, for where we are at the moment. The other sort of aspects of the game that we need to focus on is, yeah, Danny says biggest game of the season. Uh, Watching boxing, have you on in the back listening? That's fair play, Danny. The other thing that a lot of people are focusing on at the moment has been obviously the Rasmus Højlund. It's nigh on confirmed now that he's gone, and we're looking at other attackers. And I saw more stories out about JJ Gabriel and Carrick having to answer stupid questions about him. Is a well-known fact now. If you're a proper United fan, JJ Gabriel cannot play for Manchester United in the Premier League this year, and yet he's still getting asked questions in the press conference about him, and he's like, he can't play, and it's getting very frustrating now as a content creator or YouTuber, whatever you want to call me. When I'm watching a press conference and I'm looking for information about what he thinks about Emery, what he thinks about, he got asked about Morgan Rogers purely because he had him at Middlesbrough. But apart from that, it's a bit of a joke. Thoughts on Xerxes, Mark? And if we'll sell, would you trust our board to replace him? I don't trust our board to replace anyone currently. It's a very good point and sort of what I was getting onto. So people are talking about JJ Gabriel. We literally only have Xerxes and Sesko now because Rasmus is nigh on a done deal. I believe he's done enough to trigger all of his clauses. So the buy clause is done. 40 something million, is it? I'm not sure if it's million euros or million pounds. 44, I think it's £1 million, which is more than enough for his time with us. And I wish him all the best because I think he's actually got something within him. And I hope he goes on to prove a lot of the United fans wrong that doubted him. But United's a big club to play for and very big shoes to fill. Which, yeah, brings me on to Xerxes because when he came on in the last game, I liked him playing up top with Sesko. I can imagine them as a good front two, linking the play like that, but not like this, not as a 10 and a 9 in the set, replacing Bruno or someone like that. But if you play the two up top together, the little flicks and that would be great. But it's just his finishing for me, Xerxes. I don't feel that he's got any kind of killer instinct in him. I don't think I've even seen him hit the ball in anger. So for me, Xerxes, probably we could move on, but we can't do it until we sign at least two strikers. I saw Max Dowman scoring today. Okay, so what's he? 17, just coming up to 17. So even if JJ Gabriel came in next year, we're not expecting him to tear up the Premier League at 16, 17 years of age by the end of the season. So who else have we got? I don't really. Obviously, I'm expecting Obi to be in the first team squad by the end of the season, maybe the last couple of games, and stay there from next year. If Obi's not playing first team football as from next year, then maybe he's not going to make it at United, and that'd be bloody weird, um, because of what we paid and the money we put him on. But if he's not going to be in the squad, then he's got to be out on loan at a Champions League team, a Championship team, or go abroad to a team in the Champions League, like a, let's just say, Bodo Glint for now, or someone like that. Someone go out there and go to a lesser team and see what he can do in Europe as well as their own league. But going forward, maybe Cunha, we can transfer form into more of a striker than a, to fit him in with Bruno, because at the moment they come into the same space and we can't really have that. And when Dorgu's back, I can see Cunha coming out of the team, which seems weird to say, because I think Cunha's our best ball carrier. But we have to have a left-hand sided player. We have to have a right-hand sided player, and we've got two. The left-hand sided player in Dorgu, who sticks to the left, but the second player you would say is Cunha, and he keeps coming into Bruno's space, which pushes Bruno further out to the right, and then that makes us very predictable where the ball's going to come in from. So yeah, what we got here? We got a few chats here. No, Ajayi. Yeah, well, Ajayi again. He needs to be playing more 21s, but looks fast, very direct. I do like him. So yeah, I think he's only, yeah, I think you're right, 17. Jarvis, evening, Jarvis. Jarvis, anything you want to ask? Just get in there. We've already gone over the lineups and everything, so it's more about what's needed tomorrow. For me, we need a lot of emphasis on winning the first ball. Like, I know sometimes I probably sound like I'm just quoting Roy Keane, but that style of play is so important against teams like, we didn't do it against Newcastle, so this time we need to do it against Villa. Against those kind of players, we need to come out and first ball, first tackle, put them in the stands, say I'm here, and say I'm happy to smash into everyone. So Jarvis is on Matthias Fernandez watch. Yeah, well, how's that going, Jarvis? Because it's 1-1 at the moment. Is he causing problems, or is he just sitting back in for West Ham? He's an option. Obviously, Jarvis over on Tactical Devils is he quite likes Fernandez as a potential cheaper option to bring in for our midfield next season. Most people want Andy Anderson, Baleba, Walton, Tonali. This is another option that's out there. But for me, West Ham have got a great left back in Diouf, someone I would personally be having a look at. Yeah, Danny just said he'd be happy with bringing in Fernandez and Joel Gomez. For me, we'd be too short. I want to see a 6'5" midfielder brought in one of the two positions, whether be it an 8 or a 6. I feel we lack height in midfield, and with height normally comes physical aggression. Jarvis's favourite player, I think, on the entire planet is Sander Berge, and that kind of player would be great. A Pereira from 4 or 5 years ago, not our Pereira, not Pereira, sorry, Polina, the one at Tottenham. Before he went to Bayern Munich, would have been perfect. But we need someone like that. So someone like an upgrade on an Inanna, someone like an upgrade on a who else? Well, I said on Monday night a Joel Linton. We need that kind of aggression, running round, snapping people, winning the ball back. So, and that's what we need tomorrow. So whoever we've got, with someone like that, has to come in and do a job. So Kobe Mainu tomorrow, if I hope he doesn't do it, but I could see him starting Ugarte and Casemiro to be physically stronger. But I think we would then lack legs, and we definitely would lack discipline, because you then have Bruno and Ugarte, who are both ill-disciplined. Kobe Mainu is a lot more disciplined. in his positional sense. He doesn't really abandon Casemiro as much. If it does happen, it's happened through bad timing more than deliberate pushing forward to get something. So yeah, but be it all, guys, there isn't that much to go over really on this game. It's so huge, and with we got here. There is another Jens Hogmanndal at Tomenzo. Jarvis, those names, you know I'm going to butcher them. In the Norwegian Premier League, he's called the next Sanderberg. Well, maybe, but I think we spoke Monday night on your show saying that it's a risk to go outside the Premier League for the central midfield position. So if we do, it needs to be from a top proven club that we're going to bring in the highest quality. But if we can get him for, say, 20, 30 million as a backup, then maybe. I think Cunha in the 10 would be similar to a Joel Linton. He'll bring that drive in midfield. But he does and he doesn't, Danny. He doesn't track back and try and nick that ball off enough. He'll do it in their half, but once they move past our centre circle, he won't come back where we see Joel Linton doing that. But something Joel Linton added to his game over the last sort of 2 seasons. Yeah, so you agree last year. But there's plenty of players out there for our midfield. But it's whether we go Premier League proven with a cheaper option from outside the Premier League and just go for 2 6s that can train together and learn together, or whether we actually, which I feel United might do, go for a 6 and an 8, and Kobe Mainu has to fight for his place. And I don't think anyone in our team should be assured of their place, hands down. So for funny enough, one of my clips was taken out of context regarding what I said about Bruno the other day about that we missed the boat on Bruno. I'm not trying to sell Bruno. I don't think he's now sellable, but I think we have a replacement, as Danny has just said, in Cunha in the 10 for Bruno. But we do need another left winger. We have a great youngster, but maybe it's too early. But he can come in. He can come in on Carbo Cup games or something like that. You know, we need a left back. We probably need an out and out right back. We might need an extra centre back. Martinez is taking way too long to come back from his injury yet again. You know, and we still got no Delit. So the closer we're getting to the end of the season, the more transfers I'm seeing that we need. So Premier League proven might come off the table because the only way we're going to be able to get players for lesser money is go for less Premier League proven, or we just raid Tottenham for all their players when they get relegated, which is obviously the best choice, and we take half of their team. You know, I'll take Pedro Porro, I'll take Van der Vaart, no, Van der Ven even, not Van der Vaart. He doesn't play for him anymore. You know, even a Solanke up front. You know, apparently none of them have relegation release clauses, but they do have a 50% wage cut. So we'll have to wait and see. I know he plays in the other Northern Norwegian teams. As there, he turned down 10 million bid from Besiktas. Yeah, but could that just be not wanting to play in Turkey? Turkey is a weird league to play in, but Besiktas is obviously a great team. And did he turn down the 10 million under Ollie when Ollie was there? I know Jarvis, we talked about him a good while back when I asked you about him. It was probably 12, 18 months ago, and he was very like Burge. Yeah, well, the thing is, a lot of players from similar countries will always model their game on someone. So from that country. So when I look at, say, Declan Rice, there's a few players I can see Declan Rice modelling his game on, but say 10 years before, but not necessarily English, but they're still going to be Premier League proven. Scandinavian players, they very much are almost like regens, like for like kind of players. When I see Haaland, he's so out of character of the rest of the Norwegian strikers, right? although he can be calm, he's obviously a steam train and he's very British. Whereas I look at the rest of the Norwegian players, I would say they're very similar to the old Norwegian players that United had, like Henningberg and people like that. It's just a natural demeanour. Same with the Danish, the Swedish, the Swiss. You get the odd players which break the mould, but we could say that about Belgian players. Belgian players tend to be quite calm, and we got Sani Lemans now, who is probably the calmest goalkeeper I've seen in years. Probably going all the way back to, I don't know, someone like well, Schmeichel was obviously calm on the inside, not on the outside, but definitely a Van der Sar. I can see Van der Sar in him very much. And when I saw the interview with Van der Sar, I think that he said something similar. Uh, I'm not sure about the Sangari links, Danny. For me, I've seen him, but I'm not sure he's suitable to the Premier League. Obviously, he's good in the French league. Mama Sangari, that is, not the Villa Sangari. No, not Villa. Forest. Um, yeah, there are gems out there. We don't have to buy three for 100 million. No, but do we need to buy someone for 100 million? That's sort of the question we got to ask. If we go Champions League and this is where you get that extra 100 million you're going to be able to spend because we're going to have money instantly just from doing the group games. Do the Man United board instantly go, oh, we can buy so and so, we can buy so and so, and it's a bit like kids, you give them money, and then within the hour they've already spent it in the shop. Whereas you give it to someone slightly older, they're saving up. Um, so United do strike me as a young teenage board where the money just burns a hole in their pocket and they're just going to go out and spend it. Um, so yeah, Danny's got a few cheap ones. There's definitely cheap ones. There's definitely some like Spanish midfielders you could go for in from the lower league, level of the La Liga, Portuguese, even Italian. Um, I know I always say Edison, and yeah, he has dropped off, and he would be a gamble right now. But does that mean we can get him cheaper and bring him in underneath a more established Premier League midfielder? So there's plenty of options, but we're always going to have to talk about the same problems. For me, we need to start forget talking about midfield because we're just going to go over names. It's these wide players now, in both right back, left back, and left wing. Obviously, right wing, we're comfortable. It's not 100% with Ahmad and Mbumo, but I think we're comfortable there. Dorgu always needs someone to challenge him for his place. That's the only way you're going to get better. And let's be fair, Luke Shaw, what's it, less than 400 games in 10 years in the Premier League because of injury? And he's getting older. So we need a solid left back coming through. Again, there are good youngsters coming. Maybe Amas comes back, gives him a run for his money. Who knows? Um, I think he's done okay. I don't want to see us do the same with what happened with Ghana. Garner got himself promoted from the Championship, and then we go and sell him. So if Amas comes back, I want to see him fight for his place at United. We've already messed up and given Real Madrid a great left back in Fernandez. So, we'll have to wait and see. But some of these shows, obviously, we'll do over the next few weeks. Mods, where are we at with the likes? I can see we've got about 18 watching here and quite a few over on X. So where are we at with, liking the video, guys, subscribing to the video, the channel, having your say in this chat. That's what this show's all about. I'm not biased. I don't do any media speculation or anything like that. I'll probably talk about it and say side A and side B, and maybe even come through with a C in the middle. Because half the stuff we're going to read in the media over the next 6 months before the start of the season is going to be a load of bullshit. Every player is going to be linked to Man United. So let's talk about the ones we feel are suitable. I would put my resources into fullbacks rather than wingers. Yes, because fullbacks can push forward. I agree. Thiago Santos from Lille to replace Dallo. Anyone with Thiago, I always worry about getting injured. Look at Bayern and how modern football is played, and the fullbacks are crucial. Exactly. If they're fit enough, Absolutely. If they're fit enough, that's where you can compact the midfield more, and the fullbacks can get up and down. Um, and then you can still play as if you had a midfield four almost, but they can just tuck in, and you can almost have three tens, a striker, and two sitting because the fullbacks do the job. And if you're disciplined enough and keep the ball moving from side to side, one stays, one goes, you still keep almost 4 to 5 in defensive structure. But it's a massive one. Ryson, I hear a lot of people talking about, and I saw something about him being linked to us, but as I just said, we're going to see a lot of links. Uh, so yeah, come on, guys. There's 17 of you. Come on, put some other names in. I've only got Bilal, Danny, and Jarvis chucking out some names. Who would you like to see at United? Last year, I was very clear that I wanted Frimpong. I think we've actually maybe got away with that. Although he would have been great under Amorim as a right wing back, but he's done nothing there. I've said Edison, he's fallen off a cliff over the last few years because he hasn't got his move away. There's got to be other players out there that you've seen. I don't want to be doing I play FC26 and I like so and so. I don't go into that, although I understand the stats in the game are rated on footballers quite well. Going back to the old Data Championship Manager and management games, I don't want people just chucking out names like that. Although after finding out that's how we signed, it wasn't Heinze, was it? It was the other Argentinian that was revealed by Nicky Butt. That was a little bit worrying. Marcus Rojo. Marcus Rojo was signed because the manager's son had seen him on FIFA and said he was a good player. So we got lucky there. I think we got lucky with Tevez as well. Was it Tevez, the left back? One went to a thing, something like that. It was pronounced. But for me, I would like. I doubt we'd get him unless we've done some kind of deal. I would like Spinazzola from Napoli. I think I've seen enough of him now to see that his ACL injury has gone and it hasn't caused him any other real problems. That would be great. The guy is absolutely rapid, although he's still lost a bit of pace. I think he's still better than a lot of left backs in the Premier League. But obviously, we'll be on a lot of international watch over the next few months, rating probably every player going from being a £10 million player to a £100 million player because he's had a good World Cup. We all know that's how it works. So, but yeah, bringing it all back round to United. Starting 11, we've covered. Transfers, they're here today, gone tomorrow. Tellez, that's the one I was thinking. Thank you, Jarvis. Okay, I like this one. VTech back at number 2. Anderson, Celebar, Yankee, Fernandez, Diouf, Van Heck, Bazuma, Torre, left wing, or Prince. Is it Amako? Amako, I think you pronounce it, Junior. Yeah, there's lots of players out there, but don't forget, just because they look good for their lesser club, I feel like I say this a lot. Playing at a lesser club to get a big move, players drop off once they are at the big club, once they've had the big move. And we've seen that way too much over the last 15 years at Man United. Okay, let's not lie about that. That is a fact. There are so many players we could go out there and go, Jesus Christ, they've dropped off a cliff when they've come into us. I don't know about everyone here. Get in the comments afterwards. Get in the chat now. I do not trust Jason Wilcox. I would like to see him removed at the end of the season. Whether we go with Christian Vivel into director of football 100%, or we bring someone else in, I'm not sure. But there's just something about Wilcox, and I'm just a little bit concerned. Maybe it's the amount of ex-City people that have come in now. Wilcox is obviously ex-City and ex-Leeds. You've got twice the reason not to like him. Maybe I'm just being cynical. He hasn't. You could say we had a good first transfer window, right? Beginning of the season. But for him to not have, as director of football, got anyone in January, even on loan, I think for me it's a sackable offence on its own. Because we were obviously pushing for the Premier League, because that's why they brought Carrick in. It's not for the Premier League, sorry, for the Champions League. We could have pushed for the Premier League. We made a few hiccups on the way. So yeah, it is what it is. But guys, that's pretty much the end of the show. Please let me know what anyone you're thinking of. We've got another show Friday. This week's going to probably be quite heavy in content, and then I've almost got to find a lot of content to do over the next few weeks. So we'll do a transfer show. We won't do speculative. We'll do needs, and I can put together. If you get a lot of players, we can put the stats together and look at these players, how they might fit in, whether their club mentality fits in with our mentality. Because that's one of the things about transfers. How good are they at their club? But what is the club asking of them? Do they drive them on? Are they driving them to get a bigger move like a Brighton? Or are they driving them to be a better club like a Fulham? Um, and that's just Premier League, obviously, but we can go into anywhere in Europe. But if you just get me sort of like a player from each, there's 18 of you currently watching. As soon as you've finished here, hit the subscribe, hit the like, get in the comments afterwards, and just give me a defender, a midfielder, and a striker that you'd like to sign. Okay, if it's reasonable, like for me, I would like to say if we sold Bruno, I would like Palmer, but we're not signing Palmer if we've got Bruno, so that's not feasible, is it? So just give me someone feasible. Like I say, think about teams that might get relegated, and I'll create a show using your input for the week after next, after the Bournemouth game, and we can have a good chat about these players, and then you can come back and see what we've done. I'll put it all in the community feed so you can see what's going on. But remember, after the game tomorrow, there will be a player rating show, just 15, 20 minutes. We'll give honest review of the player ratings, how we saw it. And then Tuesday night, I'll do a review show of the game. And then we'll move on through the week with all the other information coming out. But for now, that's me done for the night. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for the player rating show, and obviously United to win. One last thing, whacking your scores predictions at the end. Okay, get those score predictions in the comments as well. I'm going for 1-0. I think we scrape it, 1-0 win. I'm pretty sure most people are sitting on the fence. So as for that, I'm going to go take some lozenges, rest my voice because it's starting to hurt. I've still got some kind of cold. And I will see you all tomorrow. Take care, guys.